Excellent morning to each and every one of you. That is the song by Judy K, More Than Gold. When you have Jesus, you have something more than gold. I want to use that song to welcome every one of you to today's session of the spiritual side of success with Dr. Oladapo Onadipe. I'm so happy, I'm so excited because I have something more than gold. And of course, today is the 28th day of the month of March. So it's the very last Friday of the month. And that means the first quarter of the year is about to round up. I hope you've been using your time wisely, because that is what we have been doing in the academy. So quickly tell your friends, nudge them and let them be part of what we want to do. And I'll just give you a minute to do that while I allow this music to play. Absolutely, that's something priceless that one has gotten. So you are all welcome. You welcome. Not sure what's happening with my IG handle, but we are live there also. So hopefully some people will join there. So let's go on. Today's session is going to be one that is going to be very interesting, and you're going to learn a lot of things from it. So today's session is what I tag, be wary of making vows. Be wary of making vows. That's the topic of today's session. Be wary of making vows. So that's what we're going to listen to today. And today's session, we're going to take from the book of Judges. It's one of those books some of you never get to. Judges 11, and that will be from 31 to 40. So for those of you that are joining me for the very first time, every Friday, 8 a.m. West African time, we have what we call the spiritual side of success, where I try to let you see how the spiritual has great influence on the physical and on how you are able to achieve success. So what we usually do is to look at a scripture and then be able to learn from it. So you're welcome. And I want you to follow me, not just on my Oladapo official IG handle, but also follow me on the Academy IG handle. I'm using my personal handle for now because some of you are not yet following me on the Academy handle. So please make sure you're following me on the Academy handle, because very soon we're going to move away from my personal so that we keep official things official. So once again, I want to welcome every one of us to today's session. We're going to speak about be wary of making vows. And we're going to go to Judges 11, 31 to 40. And that's the New Living Translation that I have here. And it says, I will give to the Lord whatever comes out of my house to meet me when I return in triumph. I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering. This was JEPHTHAH making a very, very strong, pledge. Let's go on. So JEPHTHAH led his army against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave him victory. He crushed the Ammonites, devastating about 20 towns from Arua to an area near Minich, and as far away as Abel Keramim. In this way, Israel defeated the Ammonites. Verse 34. When Jephthah returned home to Mizpah, his daughter came out to meet him, playing on a tambourine and dancing for joy. She was his one and only child. He had no other sons or daughters. When he saw her, he tore his clothes in anguish. "Oh, my daughter," he cried out, "you have completely destroyed me. You have brought disaster on me, for I have made a vow to the Lord, and I cannot take it back." Verse 36. And she said, "Father, if you have made a vow to the Lord, you must do to me what you have vowed. For the Lord has given you a great victory over your enemies, the Ammonites. But first, let me do this one thing. Let me go up and roam in the hills and weep with my friends for 2 months, because I will die a virgin." Verse 38, "You may go," Jephthah said, and he sent her away for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept, because she would never have children. When she returned home, her father kept the vow he had made, and she died a virgin. So it has become a custom in Israel for young Israelite women to go away for 4 days each year to lament the fate of Jephthah's daughter. So you can see that story is the story of a judge in Israel. His name is Jephthah, a mighty man of war. And on this occasion, the Ammonites were threatening them. And so Jephthah made a pledge to God. I don't know, like we say in modern parlance, what, he was sniffing or what was in his coffee pot. However, his vow to God was written in that verse 31. "I will give to the Lord whatever comes out of my house to meet me. When I return in triumph, I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering." If we look at that clearly, I don't know what he was expecting to come out of his house. I mean, he had probably his wife and only child, his daughter. And he said, is anything that comes out of his house, he's going to give up to God as a burnt offering. That means he was going to sacrifice that. Maybe he was expecting a goat to come out or a cow or something. I wouldn't know. However, he had uttered that word. And that's why, we need to be careful of what we say. And more importantly, we need to be careful of the vows that we make. So Jephthah made a vow. And you see, you can go on and see all that happened. He eventually had to fulfill his vow. And in fulfilling that vow, he had to sacrifice his only child. You can imagine how painful that was. But that was what he had to do. And the Bible says that we are ensnared by the words of our mouths. So we need to be careful by the words that come out of our mouths. It may not be a vow like this unto God like Jephthah did, but at times you just say something. You may not even mean it. One of the words poor people like saying is that I can't do it. Oh, before you say anything, they say I can't do it. Oh, they say, don't you know that I don't have the money? Oh, how will I get such an amount of money? When we are growing up, you hear things like our parents will tell us, does money grow on trees? Well, money actually grows on trees because paper is what is used to make money. And paper is gotten from trees. But they didn't know that. So you hear such statements and you hear people say, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. And, that's one thing you keep hearing from them. And as long as, your words are negative, As long as you keep, reinforcing the fact that you don't have, you won't have. And that becomes a way of life. And that's why a lot of people remain poor, because we are ensnared by the words of our mouth. So Jephthah did that, and he suffered greatly from it. So I don't know what vow you may have made, but if you go to 1 Samuel 1:11, we'll see someone else that made a vow. You see, you can make vows, but like I said, be careful of the kind of vow that you make. Know that when you make a vow, you need to fulfill it. So be very wary to make a vow. And if you must, make sure that, the kind of vows you're making are the ones that you want to carry out. And there are also vows that can help you, advance in whatever you want to do. If you look at 1 Samuel 1:11, that talks of the story of Anna, a woman in the Bible. Anna was barren, and every year she would go to Shiloh and she would pray her heart out and asking God, God, if only you would give me a child. She continued doing that because our other the other woman in the house, because the man had 2 wives, kept taunting her, kept mocking her. So, she was desperate. And so on one of those occasions when she was praying, she told God that, God, if only you will give me a child, that child I will offer him back unto you. And that was her own vow, and like I said, at times, vows can help you move forward, like in the case of Anna. So she made that vow. And, the next year, she had conceived and given birth to a child, because God honored, our prayer and answered our prayer. And what did Anna do? Anna offered a son, who was Samuel. He offered Samuel unto God. And Samuel was one of the greatest prophets, of his time. And what did God do in return? Because she honored a vow, God gave her 3 sons and 2 daughters. So she eventually had 6 children. She gave up 1, and God gave her 5 in return. And you can see that in 1 Samuel 2:21. So vows can be good, as in the case of Anna. She made a vow and fulfilled it. And after fulfilling it, God gave her 5 more children. So she had made profits and she had made progress. And Samuel eventually went on to be a great man, that is known in Israel. So vows are not bad generally, but we need to be wary of making vows, because when you make your vows, you must make sure that you keep to them. Let's see what the book of Ecclesiastes says about vows. Ecclesiastes 5:4-6. Ecclesiastes 5:4-6. So we're going to look at that quickly. Ecclesiastes, 1 minute. Ecclesiastes 5:4-6. Sorry, I'm coming. EWC. Oh, SIA. Yeah. Ecclesiastes 5:4-6. Good. It says, when you make a promise to God, don't delay in following through, for God takes no pleasure in fools. Keep all the promise you make to him. It is better to say nothing than to make a promise and not keep it. Don't let your mouth make you sin. And don't defend yourself by telling the temple messenger that the promise you made was a mistake. that would make God angry, and it might wipe out everything you have achieved. So you see what Ecclesiastes says there, the book of, wisdom. It's telling you, don't be in a haste to make a vow. In fact, it says, don't even bother making a vow. Because when you make a vow, you have pronounced it, and it can't be taken away. It can't be taken back. Some of us, we make pledges. Maybe there is a program, maybe in church or something, and then you make a pledge. Oh, I'll give $1,000. Oh, I'll give $100. Oh, I'll give, 50,000 naira, whatever it is. And then it's time for you to redeem it. And then you didn't even have plan of redeeming it. You just said it on the spot, maybe to impress some people, maybe to make yourself happy, or maybe to, blow your ego. But you made a vow. And when you don't redeem it, you know what will happen? You expose yourself to the devourer. You expose yourself to the devourer. And when the devourer comes, it's going to devour all you have. And then you go into a state that you never planned for. So, giving that word today, don't make vows if you mustn't, if you don't have to. However, if you have to make a vow, think through it. Be sure that it's something that you are willing to, fulfill. Some people make pledges. Oh, I'll give so amount. And then along the way, maybe conditions and circumstances don't work in their favor. And then the next thing, they say, I didn't mean it. Well, you said it, and you've only opened the door for the devourer, which can come and devastate you. And you may end up losing even more than what you vowed for. So I'm going to, really, really counsel us. We need to be wary of vows. The last example I'll give today is, the example of Herod with John the Baptist. Herod is a king, and he had a great feast. And, as a king, there was a lot to eat, drink, and celebrate. And then all of a sudden, his stepdaughter danced in a seductive way. And Herod got carried away. And Herod, told the young girl, ask for anything, including half of my kingdom, and I will give it to you. I mean, look at such careless statements. And the girl went to her mother, Herodes, and Herodes told her, tell the king you want the head of John the Baptist on a platter of gold. And the girl went back to the king and told the king, King, you know what I need? I need the head of John the Baptist on a platter of gold. The king became miserable. Why didn't this girl ask for gold? Why didn't she ask for silver? Why didn't she ask, for anything else? Why the head of John the Baptist? But because he had made a vow, and there were a lot of people, politicians, businessmen, a lot of people that, he didn't want to lose face with. Herod had to ask that John the Baptist be beheaded, a man that did him nothing. And that was how John the Baptist died in the Bible, because of a man who was careless with his statements. So I hope you've seen today why you need to guard your lips and why you need to watch what comes out of your mouth. Because words are, like water. Once you spill it out and it's, waters the floor and all of that, you can't get it back. You cannot get it back. So why do you want to put yourself in a situation that is avoidable? Why do you want to put yourself in a circumstance that, can be prevented? So why must you make a vow in the first place? So today we are being, admonished. Today we are being instructed. Today we are being advised. Be careful what you say. Don't say I didn't mean it. Don't say I just said it carelessly. Oh, I just said it, out of the blues. I didn't even know what was, what took over me. No. That is no excuse. Some people, maybe on the spur of the moment, they want to impress people like Herod, or some people, maybe they are high on anything, maybe on drugs, on alcohol or something, and then they release the word. And some, it may even be a curse on themselves. You hear people say, over my dead body. If you're among those that say such things, you are only putting a curse on yourself, because you probably will die. You see something, someone says, you can never succeed in this thing. In fact, I'd rather die than that this thing happened. And of course, the person will die, So you need to be very careful of what you say. Avoid using negative words on yourself. Avoid using negative words on others. Avoid, saying things that, you don't mean to say, because some of those things have ended up ensnaring people. Some of those things have ended up being people's albatross. Some of those things have ended up bringing down some mighty men, because they made a vow, and because of either their ego or, their mindsets or their emotional intelligence, they just said a word, no matter how, whatever circumstance led to it. And eventually, they ended up paying for it. So it's very important that you don't say words carelessly. Don't. And that's where you need to mature in your mind, so that you don't just say something, just say, I was just joking. I was just, making a jest. Oh, I was just doing this. But you said it, and you cannot, withdraw it. The same way you say some things to people and it hurts them, and then you say, oh, I was just joking, or I didn't mean it. No, you've done it. And some of those people, they may take those things to heart. It may lead to somebody's depression, and you never know what may follow from there. So you don't want to be a source of, someone's downfall. Rather, you want to be a source of, lifting up someone. So it's very, very important that each and every one of us, that we understand the power in our mouths. We understand how powerful the word we speak are. And so don't use words to entangle yourself. Don't use words to ensnare yourself. Don't use words that will not be to your best interest. Rather, use words that speak life. Tell yourself, I'm going to be successful, irrespective of whatever circumstances or situations I face. Tell yourself, I'm going to be the head and not the tail. Tell yourself, I'm going to be the first and not the last. Tell yourself, success is my birthright, and I'm going to succeed. Either they like it or they don't like it. Say positive words to yourself, and not just words, but take positive action. And as you say it in your ears, and as you also do it, you begin to see a whole new world of success appear before you. But when you say those negative things and they chain you down, and then you begin to wonder, why am I not making progress? Why are others moving ahead and I'm not moving ahead? It's because you have ensnared yourself. When you ensnare yourself, you only have yourself to blame. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we've talked about being wary of making vows. We use the case of JEPHTHAH as a reference from Judges 11:31-40. And we used other reference to see that vows can be good if, we do it from a sincere heart, and that's really what we mean, and we have the capacity or we desire to fulfill it. Vows can be bad if you just said it for saying sake, or, on the spot because you just wanted to say something. Don't say something if you don't have to say anything. And Jephthah, was a bad example. Same with Herod, who killed John the Baptist. So guard your hearts, for out of it are the issues of life. So when you allow, the good things to saturate your hearts, maybe like the word of God, or maybe like, good things fill your hearts, what comes out of your mouth will also be good and positive. But when you allow negative things fill your hearts, especially you go on social media sites and all you see are negative things, you listen to news, all you hear are negative things, all your heart will be filled with negativity. And then the things you end up saying, they will also be negative. So today, choose how you will guard your hearts, for out of it are the issues of life. And don't make a vow if you don't have to. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we shall be concluding today's session of the spiritual side of success. We'll be here again, same time, 8 a.m. next week. I would like to give you some information that I would like you to take action on. The first one is that my book, Knock Down But Not Out, is now available. It's available on Amazon, it's available on Kindle, and it's available on Seller. I would like you to go pick a copy. Knock Down But Not Out by Oladapo Onadipe. It has some very interesting stories that you would hear, your ears will tingle. And some of these things we have shared here, you will see them playing out also in the book, and this is not just me writing stories. It's me telling my own story and how I've applied these principles in my life. And I remember quickly from one of, what I shared in the book when I needed to gain admission. And I remember the words that came out of my mouth. If I will eat a frog, I'll rather eat one with an egg. You see, being ruled by the words of your mouth. And of course, I ended up eating a frog with an egg. So that's a metaphor. Go read it in that book and go read other things in that book that can inspire you and can help you on your journey to success. So I look forward to hearing a review from any one of you after you've read the book. Also, from next week, we're going to go to our official sites. And that's where we're going to be taking, the spiritual side of success from the month of April, the SP_Academy. So please, after this session, go there and begin to follow me, because from next week, our IG handle, we're going to be using there. I only use there to create more awareness. So please follow me so that you can know when we are live. On Sunday, we're going to have an opportunity call for you to be able to see how you can earn from the comfort of your home. It's 9 p.m. West African time. Look out for details. And you want to get all the details as the drop. Then go to the bio, click on it, and join our Telegram group. All information will be available to you, every time you need it. So that's how today's session is going to be. And I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Please give me a feedback as you read the book. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.